Ich stehe jetzt in front von einer 250.000 Flying Car. Ja, das geht gehört. Eine Car, was fliegt. LatestTalks are ook gevlogen aan Florida. Zich te treffen met de most advanced flying car company in de wereld. Labens ons af te een interessante knowledgeable interview met Doroni Aerospace, de CEO van Doroni. En als hij ook te wissen wie er aan te gaan in zijn gordel van een VIP tour bij Doroni's R&D facility in Florida. En at the same time ook gewinnen $1,000 gift certificate bij luxurykoshervillas.com. Handhaber Avromi, a.k.a. Abe, was de head van marketing en investor relationship in Doroni Aerospace. Voor wat als de ins gechoosd te zijn de eerste company, wo zal actually opgappen de facility?
Gute Schale, Penny. Es ist nicht der erste, was kommt doen aan mijn video's, but ik zijn de eerste was ich was in de full-scale prototype. Weil nur auf Wacht zurück hat es geworden greit, sie keine Vasen zu der Public. So, die wir schon auch gekommen, Puche Duschen zurück, wenn sie noch gewähnt in der alte Platz verstippt. Die ist gewissen Support und ich enjoy den Podcast. Für die jiddische Industrie hast du den besten Podcast und die meiste millionte Sache von dem Podcast. Und nicht nur eine interessante Sache zu watchen, es ist, man bekommt echt den Teuchen dort für einen Business Lot, so I'm excited to
so
have
thank
you
you for that. And
of
I'm happy to hear as Doroni, which is actually one of the most advanced companies in America, is actually influenced by the podcast. So that's this episode more to hear.
Ja.
Was wir gaan, wie zou kunnen gaan aan de car?
Lass mal rausgehen, da war's. This is the full-scale cockpit. This is a two-seater vehicle. Was the guys saying do is know the cockpit wie the user gaat sitzen in. The wings and the propellers are going to be in front and the back. But this is just, I mean, there's no gebot to kind of testen, but everything you can see here is fully functional on the software side, and of course it's going to be updated a lot nicer and a lot more advanced in the final product. So, as you guys on, the guys don't come in either with a phone, so you got recognizing as the bizdu, other guys with a card.
Doroni opening left door.
It's going to open the left door, you're going to sit in.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to set on the car. Basically, the idea is to flee with 3 clicks from a button. So it's on very getting and easy for anybody to kind of flee on a machine. So I'm going to come I click the button einmal. Alle 3 screens sind sich on. So you get all the information was got food with on car, the batteries, the motors, and it's electric, so it's very efficient and very accurate with the information it gives you, unlike a combustion engine. Also you have liquids and rubbers and all this different. Just open up your hood of your car, you can see the difference.
This is Yiddish, is that jetzt, ja?
Oh ja. Du hast da alle dan informatie. En dan ga je dan aan dan navigation. Ga je dan dan address. En ze gaat geven dan distance, wie lang ze gaat nemen, was dan batteries yet, was de battery gaat aan, wenn de gast omkomen. Ze gaat geven dan flight path. En ze gaat zeggen wie restricted areas is, wie gast dus kunnen flying. Starting navigation. En ze gaat gewazen dan altitude, ze gaat gewazen, was ze daarin dig. En eventually gaat er gewazen alle cars, alle andere Doronis, was ze daarin lebendig. So, je zou kunnen halt nog eens niet daaraan krijgen. And the software aligned so advanced that it's going to communicate with all other cars to know where it is and what exact moment and who should go first, who should go last, you know, just that you shouldn't get in any accidents, anything like that. Okay, so I'm bis bereit daraus zu fliegen, da hast dann Address, alles. Die guys choosing dann altitude, wie hoch der was gehen, let's say 400 feet. You guys pressing auto takeoff.
Doroni taking off.
Es geht dich rauf nach my lines. The Doroni gaat toen aan het vliegen aan lines, because dat is going to stehen. Einmal bist in the air, 400 feet. Neems the joystick, you push forward, it goes forward. Push left, it goes left. You push right, it goes right. Back, it goes back. Just like a drone. And it stays very accurate. Ze steht sehr gut.
Voet erop groot.
Voet erop groot, ja. Also wir nehmen dann kleine Drone, was das in daheim, like it's up of the floor.
En like die 2 seats.
Yeah. But mit der Sache mit technology and, you know, $250,000. It's feeling so you bist auf a cloud. Bist a Vulcan in the lift. So the idea is that the joysticks was on super simple and die das stehen alle controls also mit der helicopter oder mit der airplane. Mit der helicopter. And the ones was on super simple, anybody mit a full halbe Kopfcycle so kann fliehen. The Doroni fleet alliance, the computers got this fliehen Alles, was du das tun, ist, wasen welche Weg du willst gehen. But es auch gibt noch eine Option, wo sie selects around the address und sie geht dich nehmen dort. Automatic.
So, wieso weiß ich, wie soll ich kontrollieren die alle Sachen? Ich meine, ich bin ein pushte Mensch, kleine Keul. Wieso weiß ich, als wie sie das arbeitet? Ich sehe, du 15 Buttons.
Okay, so wir gehen tun, im Köln für einen soll keine Food in der Car. Er darf nur a driver license mit a 20-hour LSA pilot certificate. So a 20-hour training course
Okay.
with a medical exam, and they're going to teach you exactly the controls. But I could give you an idea, ich kann euch quasi wie es geht fliegen mit weniger, so sollst verstehen wie simpel es geht sein zu fliegen. Okay, so basically day roller, geht nach oben, nach oben. Okay?
Satisfying.
Was darauf gehen? Ja, so fliegt es wie ein kleiner Roller. Du willst gehen forward, gehst du forward. Willst gehen links, gehst du links. Rechts, gehst du rechts.
Ich gehe links und die gehst rechts?
So, sie geht noch keine arbeiten eins auf einmal.
Ah, okay.
So, sie geht nicht können sein zwei Menschen.
So, a linke geht auf die rechte Seite, na rechte geht auf die linke
Ja, es
Seite?
ist auch zwei Enden, es ist auch eins zerbrecht sich, kann der andere übernehmen. So,
So.
eine von den Joysticks zerbrecht ist, das ist nach eins.
Aber sie geht sein gering zu verstehen, die Joysticks von beiden Seiten, sie geht sein, so wie die London gehen nur eine Seite und die Amerikaner gehen nur eine zweite Seite.
So geht die Schale, und jetzt arbeiten wir auf wie sie soll arbeiten, also so sein Weg, wie sie soll viel an derselbe von beiden Seiten. So, kann es jetzt ein Double von der Sachen, but this is not complete. This is one of the things, eine von den Sachen, was dann bekommen von einer Sache Menschen, haben gefragt, wie sie geht arbeiten. Und jetzt, so, du willst gehen schnell, right? Oder du willst gehen, you können gehen up to 140 miles an hour. Du willst gehen schnell, siehst du die Piece du?
Ja.
So, du schleppst das zurück, es geht unten die
Ah,
zwei...
der hinterste?
Ja, es geht unten die zwei Motors in the back und I'm pushing forward und gehst du fliegen wie ein Airplane. So, du schleppst zurück, gehst du gehen rauf. Und du pusht es forward, gaat es auch gehen, das ist am Landen, also wie ein Plane. Aber ob du hältst es mitten, geht es just gehen gerade mitten of the wings.
Und das fuhrt also wie automatically, jetzt wo die Rigs du rechts links.
So geht automatically, and that's what I'm saying. So do sensors, the system weiß exactly wie es ist at every given moment. Und so macht sich so food smooth.
So das arbeitet mit Internet oder das geht um eigenes System?
Es geht um ein eigenes System, and of course, it goes on all meine backups behind it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Schon, was wartest du für? Ich darf eins.
Jeder eine wartet eins. Und so haben wir über 230 Pre-Orders. Und also wie gesagt, bei jedem Sales ist nicht der Issue. Einmal, so geht es an in der Lift, jeder geht wollen eins. Das ist nicht keine Schale wegen Verkäufen.
Einmal die Video kommt rausgeht, jeder will davon.
Können Sie jeder geht wollen kaufen eins. Unser Goal in Doroni ist, sie bauen the safest, the most efficient, and the most practical, easy to use vehicle in the market. So it's nicht nur about, just man sagt es auch companies, are bauen cars, was fliehen, alles. Es darf sein ein Business behind it auch. Wie sie geist das bauen? Wie sich kannst du es verkaufen fahren? So unser goal is to be cost effective. We're looking to start with about $250,000 a car. It's going to start as a luxury, unique item, but I'm on my to come into mass production. Hopefully the prices going on genug low. We can now bring the prices with the technology getting better and better over the next 10, 15 years. So the dry screens coming into Visa Mavils is optional. Kannst halt auf und dann diagnostics, sie sehen, was geht vor mit der car, mit den motors, kannst the cameras von outside, kannst sehen the beautiful views. Noch einmal, du willst watchen a podcast von LatestTalks erwarten, das kannst du oben ein Screen offen, so wie ein Tablet, und kannst gehen watchen, welche Video du willst.
Jönsson Schwarz, Ari Abramovic,
Ja,
The White House.
Ja, so wenn man will, kann man watchen, du mitten fliehen in the lift. I'll can't find a shooter.
Ich bin Tag sehr ruhig von watchen LatestTalks in der car,
Okay.
but was ist mit Safety?
So sei push it. For Doroni, for the company, safety is in its DNA. Jede piece in the car, jede piece of material, jede piece of technology in the way we design the car is for safety. So for first of all, every system, jede system in the car hat multiple redundancies. So du musst a computer. Anstatt ein independent computer, hast du drei. So if ein Computer starbt oder etwas, kann ein anderer Computer übernehmen die Controls. Das ist der eins. hast zwei Joysticks, ob eins zerbrecht sich, kannst du keine andere. Das ist nur von der Software und von der Computer Part. Nachdem, der Weg, wie so die Propellers sind gebaut geworden, ich hätte gewasen auf der größte Cockpit, und ich sagen, bald, ich hätte gemacht, wie die Propellers.
Aber wenn du fällst darauf, gaat es schon nicht,
Ja.
so nicht geschehen zu keinem, aber gaat es schon, wenn so eine Situation geschieht. Wieso bist du versichert, so Scharup fallen auf den Erd, like, zu flicken die ganze Kar und...
So for Jens do a few solutions, but the main solution is in some ballistic parachute. Wie man kann schleppen, gaat das rausschleppen, es geht rausgemacht Parachute, was geht land in the ganze vehicle. Nicht guys werden injected in the car, it's fleeing, es geht land in the ganze vehicle onto the ground safely.
Ich gebe ein Schlepp da, gegangen.
Ja, a parachute geht rausgemacht.
Moshe kommt daran, ich am Skar, geht ein Schlepp da, was geschieht?
Gut geschehen. It's guys on safety features.
Northwest is in the lift.
So guys feel, so guys on airbags. Mit der Helikopter
Ja.
darf man zurück in die Sachen.
Okay.
Weil der Helikopter macht das Sachen neu. Wenn sie kommt hier, der Doroni, kann sie, kann man nicht davon
Darf das nicht.
Kann sie nicht davon
Was
so guys on
stimmt das
electric
das?
motors, it's on sehr still. The propellers.
A helicopter sieht nicht aus gut to begin with, darf man sagen, was noch smart ist.
So du hast da eine von den Propellers, das du kannst sehen wie light ist.
Das wäre gut nicht.
This is custom-made propellers, was designed, als sie soll nicht schnaden, der Luft in der Weg, was sie machen als Sachen Neues. Gits von dem, was the electric motors, was uns gehen haben, ist sehr still. Und so haben wir schon Neues, also wie combustion engines, with all of the sparks and all of the, complicated systems to do in a vending.
This is huge. Kick of this. This is klein. What's
Yeah,
this?
so this is the erste model, was so geflogen. It's 643 pounds. Was, wenn ich getroffen, der CEO, Doroni Aerospace, sitzt in seinem Garage, das ist gewesen in seinem Garage, und ich gewesen in der riesige warehouse, was ist 13,000 square feet. Ich gewesen in seinem Garage, ich hatte erste Prototype, basically, was als die Technology arbeitet. Jetzt gehe ich in kein Vasen, wie sie uns bauen, the actual full-scale prototype, was geht aussehen, also wie das ist in der Picture.
Komm, lass mal gehen.
Okay, let me go. So this is in the warehouse, we bauen the full-scale prototype yet. I mean, it sounds crazy to talk about it, to be honest. Like, my boat is but in Zemendu. And it's going to testen the full-scale prototype. It's going to mit the tether test, hopefully. By the time the video guys on it all, I can schicken a video, wie sie, at least the motors drehen sich und wie sie hypt sich auf ein bisschen.
Wo?
Yeah, so a tether test, dachte sie wie a bike mit training wheels. Right, so before we can run flee in the vehicle, we test all the motors, we have to spin and make the software and the hardware work together. That's 8 motors. That's verstehen. So du a brain, so du a computer was controlled das. The software and the hardware,
Müssen sich zusammen.
alles zusammen.
So, wie sie geht das arbeiten in der Himmel? Ich meine, sie geht an Highways, Lanes, wie sie arbeitet das?
Okay, so currently as we speak, and as we met jetzt, the NASA and the FAA bauen schon, and Microsoft, for example, und arbeiten mit Microsoft, sie bauen schon Softwares, was controllen the airspace and machen, instead of the corridors. So when die guys around an address, especially congested cities, and got this game on lane, more or less, it's going to show you a lane, there's a highway, but it's going to give you the 500 feet altitude from here to here. And so guys on a software was got the vasen of the screen, as if you think of it as if the head-up display of the car. So got the vasen, this is the lane, and so got control all
Also wie
this
der
accurate.
heutige Tesla-Car, kann man sehen, alle Cars fuhren.
A lot more advanced. A lot more advanced. But yeah.
So, sie geht nur so an der Lane, du möchtest fuhren.
Es geht an, yeah, this gets on congested when it's going to come to the city. But was ich Menschen don't verstehen, die Sache, der Fakt ist, es geht tausende Cars in the air in 2 Jahren geht nicht geschehen. Es geht an a process von 10, 15 Jahren bis es geht an a Sachcars. Es hat doch in the rural areas, the niches, with the military, police department, you know, people that live in airport communities. Do 800 in the US. Allein, so haben die all. Yeah. So for example, so my doctor isn't the erste customer. Is a doctor, fliegt mit seinem kleinen Plane and land by the hospital. No, but it definitely it's nicht electric, right? Es macht das auch noise, darf nicht in a runway, Zilan leben the hospital is complicated, du kann auch kein Grut, kann sie de in landing gleich leben the hospital, und ich bekomme clearance von der hospital, als ist das Sache besser. Sie wollen das an stütze kleine planes oder helicopters. Es ist Sache stiller, es ist Sache cleaner, es ist electric, verstehst du, es ist Sache safer. Und man sieht, kannst du sehen mit Drones hand, wenn du schickst darauf a swarm von Drones, the happy birthday, da alle coordinaten pinklich. So geht das arbeiten, so.
Das ist interesting, was du sagst.
Ja.
Da fliehen darauf zusammen. Und jeder weiß exactly, wie darf sein, und sie crashen nicht.
Ja.
Das ist Mama schon eins Leben
Ja, so alles Sensors, alles arbeitet zusammen. The sky is the limit over here. Verstehst du? So geht es an ausgestellt.
It's unlimited lanes. Du kannst einfach ziehen werfen nach rauf, herab, welche Weg du willst.
Ja, aber bis du kommst ja Sachen, mit davon mal Sachen lanes, you're looking out years ahead, but we're already thinking. Yeah, so but in some schon einen Platz und verstehen schon, wie sie geht arbeiten.
Und dann klicken an, yes, the technologies in the car.
Ja, so geht schon an, so geht communicaten. So wie soll ich arbeiten jetzt? Airplanes, die kleine Airplanes arbeiten VFR. Das ist der Car, so du stoppst, also ich arbeite kleine Plane, bist in touch mit der Radio. Die größten Planes gehen IFR, Instrument Flights. So, we arbeiten die computers, die was darin, but this geht out mit der DFR, Digital Flight Control Systems, mit der complicated systems, und mit darf es an auf a radio. Die geht daran an address. The FAA is going to give you clearance that you can go. This is your flight pass and go. Verstehst? So es geht alles an automatic. Okay, Pinchas, ich hoffe, man kann gegeben getting information do. Geämpft das Sache an fürs.
Man kann nicht covern alles, nein, das.
Ja, also man kann reden von Tag und von Nacht, weil es ist eine neue Industrie, es ist sehr exciting, es ist auch andere Parts und andere Schales, was man versteht.
Jeder einzigste Mensch hat andere Minikaten.
Ja, und alle Schales sind sehr gute Schales und sie do Emphasis für alles. Man tut ein bisschen Research, but kann du, kannst du geben information to anybody. An der Schale, ich mache sich, es wird geämpft. But yeah, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much.
I hope everybody's enjoying. Jeder hat enjoyed du. This is exciting. So sag was geschehen jetzt. Ich will sagen publicly in front für jeder einer. Ich will danken da, dass ich bekomme die Opportunity zu arbeiten in a futuristic company, in a exciting company, wie es ist fun zu arbeiten. Verstehst du? Wir bauen the future from travel and jedem's chulam, but you know, things happen.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so reach out for any questions. Check out our website. Go look at our start engine. We would love you to join our mission.
Vaar ga je water met de future van Doroni, wil ik hebben sarang aan de future van LatestTalks. Die has gewatscht unser Content für die letzten 2 Jahre und sehr stark nur gehabt und der Feedback ist nicht normal, von was uns bekommen in der Welt. Jetzt, Kedain sollen keine weiter umgehen in grown in sein Team, heiren noch Menschen, davon in so einem Weg, wie sie zu bekommen Income, zu können weiter umgehen. Weil uns wollen weiter zustellen, Podcasts auf unser regular Channel, also wie wir das haben zugestellt bis Hand. In Klal Israel hat sehr stark nur. So, was ist der Future von LatestTalks? Haben uns gelauncht, ein neues Produkt, was heißt LatestTalks Plus. Ja, die, was watschen unser Content, was hat nur, kann uns supporten. Mit $10 a Chodesh, beim drücken gleichlebende Subscribe-Button, ist du ein Join-Button. Der Join-Button, es zu drücken auf unser YouTube-Channel, es zu umkommen zur Page und es können sehen, alle Sachen, was LatestTalks stellt dich zieh. Der alle Sachen, was uns stellen mit zieh, ist sehr interessant. Aber der Point, für was die Subscribe dort, für $10 a Chodesh, ist uns zu supporten. Und der Channel geht weiter umgehen mit Hashem, und sie gehen weiter zustellen Podcasts, aber die Guys bekommen extra Sachen, was der regular Viewer bekommt nicht. Es bekommen Bonus-Vlogs, Bonus-Interviews, die sind in Englisch. Oder die Guys können fragen von einer future Guest, was kommt heraus aus Schale. Die wissen, für ein Guest kommt heraus auf den Podcast, und uns gehen wir actually fragen für den Guest auf dem Podcast. Jetzt, wir so gehen daran, der Geutel zu gewinnen an VIP-Tour in der R&D Facility von Doroni in Florida. Und also auch zu gewinnen at the same time a $1,000 gift certificate bei luxurykoshervillas.com. Ja. Ob die subscribes to LatestTalks Plus, $10 a Chodesh, und du schickst daran einen Screenshot, see hello@latesttalks.com. Als du hast subscribed, geist die herangehen in de Geutel von gewinnen die 2 Gorillas. Ja, die kann sein in der Doroni's R&D Facility, was in gefilmt. Und die kannst auch gewinnen a $1,000 gift certificate. Das ist nur, für die, was support unser Content und zahlt $10 a Chodesh und schickt daran so ein Screenshot zu hello@latesttalks.com, gehen solche sein, zu gewinnen die Gorulas. Und jetzt geht man weiter mit der Future von Doroni, mit einem Interview mit der CEO, Doroni Aerospace, hier in Habanoa. I have the privilege and the honor to sit down with the CEO of Doroni Aerospace. It's the first time that I'm sitting down with one of the biggest CEOs in the country. His company is a Fortune 100 company, and I feel very honored sitting down with you
Thank
and
you.
having a conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My privilege. Thank you.
The first thing is, I want to know the history of Doroni. And my second question is, what's the future?
Thank you for the question. Thank you for the opportunity. The history. The history is quite simple, honestly. I was driving my car, as most of the people, in a traffic jam, stuck in a traffic jam. What happened is that I was frustrated, and suddenly I saw this kid looking around and playing with a small drone. And I saw how, comfortable that drone was, working in the air, was moving forward, backwards, so how accurate. And, just at that moment, just jumped to my mind, why aren't we doing it in a larger scale? Because everybody knew that flying car were coming for years. We knew that. We saw all these futuristic movies. We understand that we cannot, anymore transport ourselves in just in two-dimensional world because we're destroying nature. There are limited of roads you can access. You can go into major cities like, New York, like Miami or Chicago. So, where will you go? How will you move yourself forward? Underground just doesn't make sense cost-wise. And so the only way is to go in, create those corridors as we know today. So different levels of roadway in the sky. So the drone technology enabled us. So what happened is that I started thinking about it, how to move it forward. Created a team in my garage. At one point, I got a phone call from my mother-in-law. And she says, "Hey, Doron, how are you?" And then she says, I'm kind of angry at you. This is why you're angry at me. I know I'm a good husband and a good father. I have 3 kids. And she said, remember 10 years ago, and we're talking about 16 years ago. And she says, 10 years ago, you said there's going to be a watch that you can talk to a person, see and communicate. So yeah, I said, yes. And she was referring to the iWatch. And I said, yeah. And she said, so why didn't you do it? I said, okay, I got it. I got those messages. So, I have my room is my lab. As a kid, I had asthma. I was very creative kid. Did a lot of electronics and computers very early, the first time before everybody else. And I decided to jump into it full force. So I created this team. It was hard to find them at the beginning because you're talking about different modalities, different manufacturing, different development, different knowledge. At that time, everything was very, was not in existence. People knew small drones, so the power was lower levels, and everything was really at the beginning. So I was lucky enough to find those, and they believe in the concept, and we started working. So we started developing in my garage. We did few models. The first one was called Y6 configuration, which is the shape of a Y with 6 motors at the tip of the Y. And then we created an X8, 8 motors. This one that we see here now. And we lifted this one off the ground, 643 pounds, which basically showed us that we are in the right direction. At that point, we understood that we need to decide the business strategy or to change the business strategy to do a 2-seater roadster, like the most sold car, like Tesla started. So we changed the design, but it's based on the same propulsion system. By 2021, we won 2nd place at the Florida Aerospace and Aviation Forum. Space Florida, under the governor's office, offered to scale things up for us, to build the production facility for us, and also the tooling and buy the land and lease it to us. So we are, under the governor's office now, and with their support. We moved to this new facility here about 2 months ago. At the beginning, we were in South, in close to Miami, in Medellin. Now we moved to this facility. We presented in Oshkosh Air Show. We wanted to test this beautiful cockpit behind me. This is a full scale, exactly from the same file of production that we have. We tested the avionics, the tablets, the flight control system, and the VR, the virtual reality. We were amazed by the feedback that we received. We had thousands of people doing that, from 13-year-old kids who are our future pilots, or basically our future buyers, and to 95-year-old World War II veteran who flew in combats. And the biggest, we got only one reject. The biggest reject we got is, guys, I learned how to fly for 20 years, and now you took all the complexities out of the flight. Because really the whole idea of what we're doing is, we talked about a little before, is making that thing simple. 3 clicks of a button, you're already flying. And if you remember all this, the first elevators, you don't remember, but it was like 100 years ago or more. It was very hard to operate that. There was levers and all of those, machines. You have to have a special guy that will control that. Today, just even type in the floor and you go there directly. And the same with the phone. In the beginning, the phone, you have a different system of communicating, and the dial, and now it's just this, and now just say, hey, call mom. So this is exactly the evolution of this. This is a semi-autonomous system, very simple to operate, very user-friendly. You don't have all those, bells and whistles and multiple of gauges that will scare you, that you need to all the time look, because you're still in control of the aircraft, but you get simple information, very accurate, and more even reliable than everything that out there. We now at the point that we finished this, we are starting our tests. All the 8 motors are already assembled on the rig, and we're starting to the system. We feel we're at the pinnacle of making a big change in the world, because it's going to change everything we understand until now about time and space. Really, things are shorter. You don't have to stop at a stoplight, go right, go left. Somebody jumps into the road or refuel, because you go up straight and down. You don't even, it's not a runway. You just go directly up. So this is where we are now. As far as the future, I don't see, to be honest with you, I don't see any other way of how, population expansion, how we're going to commute in our roads. They were thinking about autonomous. Autonomous has been going on for like 20 years. They're talking about it. Why is there's not autonomous here? There's a reason why there's not autonomous here, because it just to create more problem, because there is interaction in the same playing field of human and machine. And people are making 75% of their decision making is not logic, as we think we are logic, but we're not really logic people. We are, driven by a lot of, of our emotions. And the machine is a logic machine. Besides that, there are so many parameters that the machine has to make a decision at that point, and all this information has to be shared by the global network. So this is a big problem. Even if they will solve that problem, again, it's still 2-dimensional. So the only way really to go to create a more to enable us to commute is going create those driveways or those corridors at different levels. And I know it sounds for people like science fiction, but you can just go into see NASA website and the FAA, and they already know that it's happening now. There's a lot of companies who are certifying their flight control, their traffic management systems. So, again, the drone goes up. It's very accurate. He knows exactly where it is in this 3-dimensional world. And it doesn't take a runway. So it goes up, left, right, and we already saw that. So this is very accurate. This is controllable. Until now, you would fly an aircraft by what's called IFR, Instrument Flying Rules, or VFR, Visual Flying Rules. Now NASA is working, and we're sitting with them. We're also with the committee with them. We even pitching them. It's called DFR, Digital Flying Rule. Each machine will have its own a homing device. Now, our strategy is a little bit different. We're not thinking tomorrow morning to fly with it. It's not our intention into Miami or Chicago, because this obviously takes a lot of formal certification, more complex one. At the end of the day, yes, not now. It has to go in stages. We will start with, with the more, less populated areas. There's enough of them around the world, specifically in the US. Just to give you a heads up, there is what's called airpark community. An airpark community is people who living in their own airpark. And there are communities like that. There are 70 communities in Florida, about 800 in the US. They already, they were engaged by them. One of them is a doctor. He wants to, to fly to work, to the hospital. I mean, this is the easiest way. They checked with their HOA, and they said, just come in, guys, no need of a runway, lower noise level, more reliable, no pollution, what else can you ask for? So this technology, it's not a future technology. It's already here. It's been here proven for a few years already by the drones. Now we are scaling it up. We're doing it something that is easily to control, is, safer. And in our machine, there's multiple redundancies in case of a failure, much more safer than any other commercial aircraft out there, including parachute that will deploy and land the whole vehicle. Again, we have 8 motors. A helicopter, for example, have 1 motor. And that thing falls. There's nothing that, that will prevent the fall, right? In our case, we have 8. The system can still stabilize. If there's a problem in 1 of 4 motors, we have 8. So up to 4, this is our design. It will still stabilize and automatic descent. Once you hit a critical level of 20% batteries, it'll start automatic descent as well. Things are very, very simple and safe with these machines. Obviously, it takes time. Now, as far as the strategy, from the research we've made, most forms of current transportation, like aircrafts, like trains, like cars, they started as a niche players. Before there was, the buggy, the horse and the buggy. And then there was, and the aircraft were for the airmail. And I think the cars were for the army. Eventually, as time progressed, they became part of the main form of transportation. So we see that this is as the future for the next 20, 30, 40 years. This is what's going to happen. Now, the propulsion system might change. But now, at this point, the most, classical tradition and safe that we can understand is, use propellers at this point. And everybody, we're going all electric. So it's, there's nothing to fix. If it breaks, you just replace it. And you can already compare, EV to regular cars. You already see, how reliable and more, easy to use and operate. And people are enjoying their Tesla. It's a nice car, So you can already compare that. Again, if you're trying to compare how, just look inside a Tesla or look inside a regular car. A regular car, the motor has a combustion engine. This has been used in commercial aviation as well. All commercial aviation, the small ones are combustion engine. I'm not talking about jet engine. So you have pipes, rubber, you have multiple material, you have aluminum, you have steel, you have sparks, you have explosives. There's multiple points of failure in those machines. And this has been certified and people are flying with it. We are changing it with electric. Very simple, more reliable, more accurate, right? The body for all of the aircraft today is made of aluminum. Multiple parts combined together. And you take aluminum, just a can, you crush it, you see how it, you crash on, think about what happens to the passengers. We're using carbon fiber. Carbon fiber been proved for years in Formula One races. Drivers hit the wall at a 320 kilometer an hour, they're coming out, shaked, right? But not injured, So these things are already present for years, maybe dozens of years, 20, 30 years, people know about them. So it's a matter of putting it in the right package. Now, we are not alone in this journey. There's a huge support from the federal government, from the local government, because they all know it's coming. For example, the EV, the all electric cars, they say, I think by 2030 or 35, 50% of the cars have to be electric. The same in Europe. So Europe and the US are moving tandem with that towards electric. So we are feeding off this, technology as our, using these batteries and these electric. So this is where the future is coming, already identified. This is the goal. So there's nothing else besides that. Now, federal issue to supporting House bills. I think it was beginning of 2022 or end of 21, supporting advanced air mobility, what we're doing about the infrastructure, about the vehicles themselves. The Air Force has Agility Prime program. They're interested in using this technology. And we already passed the first stage now with them. We're going to the second stage. So there's a lot of things in that world that, and we're not even touching the tip of it. The potential of the vehicle is just enormous. For example, you cannot use a helicopter if you want to go service electric lines because of the fumes can get you, these are combustion, can get a spark, can have explosion. Using this vehicle, you can. You cannot use, for example, any Chinese-made drones anymore today. So in the last couple of months, they're banning the use of any, expensive DJI or other drones because of, the problem US have with China. So we are a US-made company. This is where we're going with it, exactly to this direction of assisting with all these potential markets. So you can save people before and after a hurricane. You can play golf with it. You want to go play golf. These are things we're approached by our investors. We are on Start Engine. We raised about $2.7 million for the last 13 months, which was very good. But we also have a lot of engagement by those investors who said, guys, you know what? Can I fit a golf club inside? We can think about that. You can think about that. So this exposure gave us a lot of information of where the potential of it. And we just don't see the end of it at that point. There's so much. And this has been an amazing journey for us. And we're thankful for everybody who invested and still invest in us and believe in what we're doing. And we're looking forward. The future is amazing. This is just the first, really vehicle, but we can think about other sizes. You can do a whole bus. You can do a personal one. It's just, where do you start? How do you scale it up? This is really what we're looking for. Be part of this big community that is happening. Also, there's a lot of support from local government here. Fort Lauderdale Alliance, Pompano Beach, Florida in general, Space Florida. So everybody, understand that this is a cleaner way to move forward, and they want to help us. And this is so amazing for us that we have all these people who believe in us.
Very interesting. And I want to touch a different subject for a second. Every CEO of a big company, for example, Elon Musk from Tesla, whenever he speaks, he talks about reality. I'll do this, I'll do that. It sounds unimaginable. It sounds like fiction from A to Z. But when he says he's going to put up a network in Ukraine for the war, Starlink is there a day later. Whatever he says will happen, usually happens. What makes you different than any other CEO that doesn't have a company like yours? Where do you stand out from these CEOs that makes you being so successful and get things done so fast and get the ideas in your head to reality?
So I can tell you from my own experience, everything that I set forth in my life, I did it successfully. I have my Ezer Shekeneged, my wife, to keep me grounded. I keep checking with her, and she always gives me the green, go ahead. She wouldn't let me sell our house to invest in the Doroni if she wouldn't see me doing that. So I have, I'm privileged to say that I have, the best support in the world, because you really need to have people close to you to tell you the truth, and not just, people next to you say, oh, we're amazing, it's amazing. So if I'm going, back, hindsight, everything that I set forth in my life, including raising an amazing family, including the businesses that I've done, including the development that I did, was happening. And I think the last 12 months just proved exactly that. We moved so fast. We progressed so unimaginable, even better than I thought. Building the team, building the product, coming to this place. the business strategy, everything for us is running.
The government.
The government, the government, federal government, local government, things are opening for us. And, I can only say thank you, God, for, for things that are opening. This is the reality of things. Now, about how to CEO, I'm trying to learn, I always see myself, I think the biggest thing that I like is to learn, you always learn. And my father used to say, you learn all your life and then you die dumb, right? The more you learn, the more you understand that you don't know. It's kind of a contradiction here, but what I'm doing here is basically learning and developing here with the team all together. And we see that this team is passionate and everything that we're doing is just, exactly when it needs to happen, it happens. And, I can't be more thankful for that.
Do you think this is luck? That you fell in with the right product at the right time with the right people? Or you think that you have something else in you that makes you do things going forward?
It's a good question. I'll tell you my 2 cents in it. Every person in this world come here to do something specifically that it's unique for him. You mentioned Elon Musk, obviously, and bigger people, the same, like Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates. Everybody, if it's a composer of a song, if he's a writer, whatever he's doing, this is who I was from day I remember myself. I was always fixing, I was always creating. This is my passion. One of my biggest, one of the most admired is Leonardo da Vinci. This is how I follow. This is what makes me tick. This is where my zone is, Every person, wants to say, listen, I'm very talented, but I like to, write these songs, so I can't even argue with that. My oldest son, he's a quarterback, one of the best in the country. I saw him picking a ball from the day he remembered himself. So I went with him, with what he's doing. And I always checked myself, am I in good interaction with people? And those people, like-minded, talented people just came. It was like a magnet. If it's luck, so I'm looking, luck in Hebrew say it's mazal, right? Mazal. Mazal means, it's a short, from makom, zman, and la'asot. Like in a place, time, and do. So I feel that we are in our zone. We're doing the right thing at the right time, so what else can I ask for? And there's a whole, it's like riding a wave. This is the wave now. So we're definitely, running with that wave at this point. Yeah.
And what lesson can you give to the viewers? We have a lot of people trying to do all kinds of businesses. What do you think is the number one thing, or even a few things that can change the way how they do business in a very short period of time?
So I'll go back to my answer before, and I'll try to always approach a situation as a first-year student. Talmid matchil. Like, just always keep your mind open. Never close the door here. Just, try to be as alert as you can, absorb all the data. Even if you don't agree with it, you don't have to say no at the beginning. You just have to absorb it. Then let it digest, because at the end of the day, the decision making that we're doing has to be from our heart to our brain. It has to have a balance in a way. So, and when you answer things, when you decide things, try to understand, where are you answering them from? Is it fear or love? And this is a tricky point, because fear is, the biggest deception here. If you're making decisions upon fear, you're going to lose. If you're making a decision upon love, you better have a chance to succeed. So this is a balance that you have to go. And the biggest thing is, you have to learn yourself before, you're able to learn something else. Understand what makes you who you are. And I would suggest people approaching me and I'm saying, start just writing. And also my kids, write what you want to do, write what you love to do. You don't have to organize it. Just write a word, write a phrase, whatever. Just, just compile it on more and more. And then you start seeing it more clearly. You get the clarity. It's like you using a binoculars and you start making more, getting the focus until you see the picture. It's a work. It's like, you can't do it in a second. It's like going to a gym. You have to train and train and train all the time on the same point until gradually you start seeing this picture, and this picture becomes so accurate. And it's a balance between heart and minds, between logic and feel. And it's not, feeling if I'm angry or if I'm sad. It's a knowing. It's inside, and you'll get it. Everybody has it. But all these clutter around us, all these fear-driven, these can sometimes throw us in the wrong direction. You have to breathe and don't be afraid. Fear is I learned that I have to go into my fear a lot of time. So if there's something that scares me, my solution, my tikkun, whatever you want to say, it will go if I go directly into that fear. I'm not saying, be crazy and just do what your heart and say you, but if you are scared of something, you should explore what's going on there. And if you have to face it. And you go through that fire, and at the end, you're coming out like, the biggest hero of yourself. At the end of the day, this is a hero's journey. You have your ups, you have your downs. The only thing that keep helping you to move forward is if you do it with your passion, with love. This is the energy that you can, fear is a lack of love. It's just, there's no existence of fear. Fear is just, lack of love. That's it, basically. So, this is my biggest takeaway. It's a journey at the end of the day.
So to sum it up, be proactive instead of reactive.
All the time, be proactive. All the time. But there are times you just have to sit down and breathe and let that thing flow. You have to have your center of yourself all the time. Pay attention. What's going on? Do I need to do now? Do I need to do later? Don't be rattled by every wind that comes in your way, because there are so many of them. Sometimes things will feel to you like the end of the day, the end of the world. You say, oh, wow, and then an hour later, it's just passed like this. So you have to be centered all the time. Don't let your emotion override. There's another word in Hebrew, by the way, probably people know. It's called melech, right? Melech is moach, lev, klayot ukaved. I mean, if you're a king, your brain controls your feelings, and your feelings control your actions. If you read it backwards, it's called klum. You're nothing. If your actions control your emotions, and you say, oh, I did this, and then you're losing your brain or your logic, then you're klum. So, for me, I always try to be, it's not easy. I'm not saying I'm perfect. It's an ongoing process. It'll probably never end. But it's something that you have to be aware of that's happening. And once you're aware of it, know it's in existence, it's easier to understand and manage it. There will be challenges. There are other challenges, always challenges. Even personal, you have family, you have kids, I have grown-up kids, I have to be all the time checking, am I a good father? Am I doing the right thing? So these things are very important, that you will be in control. You have the balance within yourself in order to sustain everything that happens around you.
Right. So to sum it up again, clarity, proactive versus reactive, have a focus, know what you're doing, understand the process, jump into everything, jump into the fear.
Exactly.
Don't be scared of fear, because fear, there's something that blocks you, and you have to overcome that block.
Right. Fear is good. I mean, it's there. You don't, do not try to hide it. You have to acknowledge it, but understand this is fear. Okay, what am I doing with it? Am I succumbing to it, or am I moving forward? And the best thing ever is just, you have to do things from your passion. If you do something to make money just for the sake of making money, it will not sustain. You have to do it with love. If, money is important. I'm not saying very important, but more important is that you love what you're doing. You're enjoying it. That gives you, because you have challenges. And if you don't do it out of love, you'll never be able to overcome those challenges. It says, then, well, what do I need it for? Okay, I'm making, I don't know, $1 million, but I'm suffering so much, I can't take it anymore, But if you do it, and then you get the paycheck from it, that's the best of all worlds.
Wow. This is amazing, and I really appreciate the time. And I want to ask you one more question before we finish the conversation. Do you have plans down the line? Does the company have, for example, like a 4-seater concept, or more stuff to put into the car rather than just the first concept that's coming out?
So as far as the product, there are multiple things we're thinking about. We're already working on the P2 and the P3, the designs. But I'll tell you something that I learned from my father. Before you're making the product, you have to build the tool. And the tool first is you. You have to perfect your tool, and the people around you are also. We are all tools, because before we make that product, we have to build a team. And the most important for me now is to invest in my team, that we have the best team ever. And then products will come, when you have those synergies and, talented people, good people, creative, the hardworking ones, there's no end to what they can do. So, for me, more important is
to have the right tools.
Yeah.
And then you could create with the feedback of customers. And
Exactly. Doroni in Hebrew means present. I was born, they gave me a name of present because they didn't think that I would survive. So I was a present at that time. They thought I'm going to die. Since then, my only, creativity is all I understood. We are all gifts. I'm also a gift. Everybody's a gift to this world. So, I have to perfect myself, and I want to see people falling in love with the product, and be, just happy as we understand that we're creating a new way of commuting, of transporting people. And I want people to just be passionate and in love and become part of this big family called Doroni Aerospace.
Well, thank you so much again. It was
an
honor to have you.
Thank you.
And thank you for giving for Latest Talks the opportunity to have you on. I know you're a super busy guy trying to get the future a reality.
Now.
Exactly. And it means a lot.
Thank you so
to
much.
us
Thank
and
you.
the viewers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wie gaan we op Shabbos? Wie gaan we op Shabbos? Aspen in Grandville. A villa is so groß wie a village. 12 apartments, nicht gar rooms. A Schiel, a Simchasaal, commercial kitchen, lounges, game rooms. Es gibt noch 2 solche buildings, stay tuned. Aspen in Grandville. Luxury Kosher Villas. Vacation wie a Mensch. 866-338-5819.
Essen, gut Geschmack im Scheunzit. Wie alt ist gut und fein. Mit der steifen Knack im Ganzen. Essen, gut Geschmack im Scheunzit. Wie alt ist gut und fein. Mit der steifen Knack im Ganzen. 71857663839.
Click the join button to subscribe to the latest talks plus and enjoy